A former assistant to Donald Trump reportedly told federal investigators that the former president repeatedly wrote to-do lists for her on classified documents.
Wait a second. Hold on a second.
It's very serious.
Yeah, but Willie, wasn't this the same guy that said Hillary Clinton should be locked up because of an email with a couple of classified documents? And he's writing to-do notes
Melania
on classified documents and handing them to staff?
Yeah, I mean, Mika's going to go through it here, but this is the ABC News report. It really is extraordinary. I mean, this story just keeps getting more outrageous the deeper you go into it. One of his assistants says now, she's telling the authorities and investigators that he wrote to-do lists, things he had to remember for the day on note cards that then she would flip over, and they had classified markings on them, classified documents with the grocery list on the back.
It's unbelievable. Mika usually, by the way, when she has a list, she either pulls up my sleeve and writes it on my arm and says, do these, or sometimes it's a big one, you just do it right on my forehead.
A notepad, not
it's
a
classified document.
So all right, this is all according to ABC News. Right. Let's try and not, it seems cartoonesque, but
well, it's classified document.
Anyhow, it cites several sources who are familiar with the statements from Molly Michael. She worked in the Trump White House and continued as his assistant at Mar-a-Lago until last fall. She says the written requests from the former president could often come on note cards with visible classification markings used to brief Trump while he was still in office about phone calls with foreign leaders or other international related matters. Sources tell ABC News that last August, Michael went to Mar-a-Lago the day after the FBI searched the property and found the notes Trump had written on her to her on classified documents in one of her desk drawers. She then made arrangements to turn them over to the FBI. ABC News reports that Michael is believed to be the person identified in Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment as Trump Employee 2 and handled many of Trump's boxes from the White House. She also is believed to have taken some of the pictures of the boxes that were included in the classified documents indictment. Sources told ABC News that after Trump heard the FBI wanted to interview Michael last year, Trump allegedly told her, quote, "You know nothing about the boxes."
This is, again, Mr. Obstruction. He's been Mr. Obstruction his entire life.
Yeah.
And here you go. He keeps doing it. He keeps lying. And again, the people that are turning on Donald Trump are not left-wingers. They are not resistance Republicans. They are people that actually worked for Donald Trump. And worked for Donald Trump not in 2017, but at the end. And even after January the 6th. A Trump spokesperson, by the way, said that ABC News' reports lack proper context.
Yeah, and that the president did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I just, it is so unbelievable that it's hard not to crack a smile because it's so unbelievably stupid. It's just so unbelievable. At the same time, this woman has, turned over the information to the FBI, and she's probably in a, very serious situation.
Well, she is in a serious situation.
Yeah, so I don't want to make light of that.
Well, I mean, it's gone from tragedy to farce, but it is a tragedy. At least, Jordan, you worked in the government. You worked at the State Department.
All this stuff is so important.
I just can't underline enough the fact that if I were given classified briefings at Armed Services committees, if I were given classified documents, they would never leave the committee with any of those documents. You just don't do it. I never knew a member who did it. I never know a member who said one time, whoops, I accidentally took a classified document out of the hearing room. Why? Because you never did it. That's why these people out there that want to forgive Donald Trump and say, oh, it's much ado about nothing. That's just a lie. There are so many people that served this country in the military, in the State Department, in the DOD, in Congress, that understood exactly what they could and could not do. And he has breached that code of conduct so many times. This is just the latest, most egregious, and one of the most reckless examples, Elise.
Well, and just think of how many Americans serve in war zones, and when they have classified documents and they're at a remote outpost and they have a skiff for sure, but they're burn bags and things are burned and things are taken care of in a responsible manner. Remember the backlash that Sandy Berger got, Bill Clinton's NSA, when he stuffed documents from the Library of Congress into his shirt and left. And
he was charged.
And he got into trouble for it. And here you have Donald Trump just treating this important paperwork, these treasures of America's national security, our secrets, as if it's just, paper that he can use for a to-do list and is suddenly environmentally friendly. It just makes no sense at all. And it just shows how he doesn't have any base conception of how what he was dealing with was so important and was completely unfit for the responsibility of Commander-in-Chief.
Jonathan, as Joe says, one of the other problems that Trump has right now is that Molly Michael was in there through all of 2020, through the January 6th, through the time he left off. She was effectively a right hand to Donald Trump. She was his assistant. That's why he trusted her with this project. And as you read through again, this is just an ABC News report right now, but multiple sources were working to verify that she and Walt Nauta, according to this report, were the ones who brought the boxes from the Mar-a-Lago storage room, brought them up to Donald Trump and said, go through these. What do you think we ought to give them and what do you want to keep? At one point, he said, all right, that's all the boxes. Tell them that's everything we have. And she says, according to this report, she knew there were many, many more boxes and that they weren't being forthright with the FBI. So it would seem she is, again, the right hand to Donald Trump, a key central witness in this case.
Yeah, the report goes on to add this pretty damning detail that the sources tell ABC that when Trump heard that the FBI wanted to interview Michael last year, Trump allegedly told her, quote, "You don't know anything about the boxes." So that is certainly would be a potential problem there legally for the former president and part of this investigation. On one hand, yes, this reiterates and underscores what we have known about the Trump White House. We were reporting it in real time, how chaotic it was, how they ignored norms and practices, how they turned up their nose at basic security procedures at times, both in terms of battling with, say, the COVID virus, but also handling of information, handling of documents. They didn't always go through proper and regular channels. And this is now we know that even classified documents were used at times as scrap paper. And in those closing days of the administration during that abridged transition, because of course they fought to stay in office until January 6th, everything was done so haphazardly at the end and things were thrown in boxes they shouldn't have. It is not a surprise that this sort of inappropriate behavior continued. And this is all going to add up, Willie, to more problems for this president, as yet it is members of his inner circle. These are members who worked faithfully for the former president are the ones potentially testifying against him.
Well, and the ones who, if they don't, unfortunately, because they have classified documents in their presence, they could go to jail, which, by the way, there's nothing political about that. I guarantee you at home, if you have classified documents in your drawer with notes on them somewhere and the government finds out you have them, you're going to jail too. It doesn't matter what your party registration is. It doesn't. None of that matters. If you're trafficking in classified documents, if you have possession of classified documents, like, it's trouble. And Caddy K, most problematic is you have a former president of the United States who stole classified documents from the White House, who stole nuclear secrets from the White House, who stole war plans from the White House, planned invasions of Iran from the White House. And to show that he actually did know what he was doing, he told one of his campaign managers, "Here, I shouldn't be showing you this. I could have declassified it if I were still president of the United States, but I'm not, so I shouldn't be showing you this." He knew exactly what he was doing. And then he says to one of his staff members, "Forget that you ever saw this stuff." Right? What did he say?
You know nothing about the boxes.
You know nothing about the boxes. I guarantee you, in the trial, after she testifies, you're going to see those words up on a board in front of the jury. And I don't care how biased the jury is, Caddy. Donald Trump continues to back himself further and further into the corner. And he does it here again with yet more proof of obstruction.
Yeah.